Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 6 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing 20 brand new paper craft projects to make with your Cricut over 20 days, all with a wonderful Christmas theme. After last year's Christmas Craft Countdown, I asked for feedback on any designs that you might like to see next year, and the most requested design was something for people whose Christmas is in the summertime rather than winter. So for day 2, we had the lovely wintry postbox and robins scene. And now for day 6, we're going to the other side of the world for this beach scene. You've got a little snowman made out of sand. In the background, we have our little koala climbing his very own Christmas palm tree, a cockatoo in the corner, and lots of gifts and a surfboard along the bottom. Let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Christmas Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas24. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas24 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Christmas Craft Countdown, plus lots of extra bonus designs. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. This is what the SVG looks like when it's uploaded into Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to get to this stage, check out the schedule page for the Christmas Craft Countdown, and within there, look for the Foundation Learning section near the top of the page. This contains links to lots of useful Cricut tutorials, but one of them near the top is the one on how to upload SVGs to Design Space. The design does come in at a good size to cut out, but if you're making this to fit a specific frame, then you'll want to measure your frame to know how big to make this. Again, check that Foundation Learning section, as there are a couple of different tutorials in there on how to perfectly frame your layered designs to get the best fit every single time. If you don't have a frame but you still want to put this on display, again, in the Foundation Learning section, there are lots of goodies in there. There is a link to some other free SVGs on how to make hooks and stands to go on the back of your layered design so that you can either stand them up or put them on a nail or a hook in the wall. And there's also some easel stands as well for a little bit of a more decorative way to put these on display without having to go out and buy a frame. You could also shrink it down to go on a greetings card. There are lots of different options. I want to make this quite big as there's a lot going on here, and I want to make sure you're going to be able to see everything when I'm recording the video. To resize, make sure the padlock icon above the width and height boxes is closed. If yours is open, you can click it to close it. And then type either the width or the height, and then press enter on your keyboard, and the other measurement will change in proportion. So I'm going to do mine 7.5 inches wide, which is almost 8.5 inches tall. When you're happy with how your project's looking, press Make over on the top right, and this will separate out all the colours for you. You can change the paper size in here, and once you've done that, you can click and drag to move things about to use up less space on your cardstock. Just make sure when you are moving things that nothing overlaps, for example like that, otherwise it's not going to cut out properly. You'll need to change the paper size for every single colour, which you can see by going down this list on the left-hand side. There's lots of colours in this design, but for many of them you don't actually need very much. For example, this bright green only needs a few little circles, so this is an excellent project for using up some of your leftover card scraps from previous projects. When you're happy with how all your colours are looking in Design Space, press Continue to connect to your Cricut and then get everything cut out from your cardstock. Here are all the pieces of my layered design put together, and I have placed them one on top of the other, following the assembly guide that's included in your download folder to check that I'm happy with all the colours and that I haven't missed anything. The only thing I haven't added onto this are all of the teeny tiny circles that act as the baubles in the tree and his hat and in the cockatoo's mouth, just because they're very, very small and I wanted to keep them all nice and safe in a little pile to the side of me to make sure that I didn't lose any. But as with all my layered designs, we'll start at the bottom and work upwards. We'll be putting this together with a combination of glue and foam squares. The glue I'm using is Bearly Art Glue, but I also like Collall, and the reason I like these two glues is they don't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do. The foam squares I'm using are from Dot & Dab, and these ones are nice because they are quite small, but any will do, any brand. Just if yours are quite big, you may need to cut some of them smaller with a pair of scissors so that they'll fit in our paper craft. Alright, so I'm going to move these bits apart so that we can start at the bottom. I'm going to try and keep things vaguely together because I've already gone to that effort of putting them all in order, so I don't want to completely ruin it now. Keep all of him together. And then we'll end up with the very two bottom pieces, which is this solid bit, which is the sky, and then the sea on front. And, oh look, I found one of those bauble pieces. Let's put that with all the others. Alright, so for this one, we're going to use some foam squares to rise it up from the background a little bit. So I'll take this bit, turn it upside down, and start adding my foam squares. There's a lot of sort of sticky out bits on this piece, so we need to make sure we have a good amount of foam squares on them that they're all going to stay nice and sort of level. So as well as putting my foam squares around the edges like this, I'm also going to put some in these big middle sections and also down the tree and out in the leaves. I also want to try and get a little bit of foam in these baubles to make sure that they stay nice and level with everything else as well and don't kind of drop downwards onto the card underneath. But my foam squares are a tiny bit too big to fit in them, so I'll need to cut them smaller. They're really easy to cut. You can just run down them with a pair of scissors to whatever size you want to make them. And now these will hopefully fit. Yep, just about. In these baubles. When you're adding your foam, make sure nothing goes over any of the edges or in any of the gaps. Otherwise you'll be able to see them, and we don't want to be able to see the foam. I think that's probably enough for them. Now I can peel the tops off of all of these to reveal the stickiness underneath. Bring the original sky layer back in. We're going to line this one up on top. And then when you think you've got the edges all nicely lined up, gently drop it down, but don't push it yet. We don't want to stick it until we make sure we're perfectly happy with where it is and how it's positioned. So it goes directly following the outline of the sky. And I've not done a very good job at that because my tree isn't lining up. So because I've only just gently dropped this down, you can see I can pick it up again to move it and it hasn't damaged anything. I think I'll try lining it up at the top first instead. It's always a little tricky with ones that need a lot of lining up because my filming desk makes my hands come out a long way from my body, so I'm actually sort of reaching out. It means I can't see very well what I'm doing. Just check all the way around. Oh, that's much better. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now I can push down and get that all nice and stuck. The next piece to go on is this one, which is the sand. But before we put this on, we need to fill in the gaps in the little snowman? Sandman? Not quite sure what you'd call him. He's a snowman but made of sand. I'll turn this over and then take the brighter yellow outline, and then this will be glued to the back. Just a little bit of glue around that snowman shape. And then turn this bit upside down and glue it to the back so it will line up with the sandy layer. Top sand layer. They're both sand layers. You know what I mean. It lines up with the outline here. Having trouble with my words today. Not very helpful when I'm recording a video. And then whilst we're here, I'm also going to glue his baseball cap on top. It's a very cool sandy snowman creature with his little baseball cap tilted off to the side. There we go. And then this can go onto our main design over here. And this one will be glued on. There's a little bit of card stuck in one of these gaps in the palm tree. Just use a weeding tool to poke it through so we can't see it anymore. The nice thing about glue is if you haven't quite lined it up right, you can just wiggle it about till it gets in the right position. There's one final piece for the background, which is the yellow outline around the edge, and this one will also be glued. That's already looking lovely, and we've still got a lot to go. Next, we're going to start building up some of the details, starting with this, which is the outline of the surfboard shape. And this one is a foam square layer. Let's bring this back, and then for lining it up, you've got the bottom line here, also the outline of the surfboard and the outline of the tree. Next up is this white piece making the detail on the surfboard. This one is a glue layer. This sits right on top, like this. Next is this sandy layer to bring up the sand in front of the surfboard, and this one is one more glue layer. Next is the body of the koala, which is going to go over here, and this one will be glued on. Next up, we've got the brown to make up the tree trunk. Once again, this is a glue layer. Don't worry that it sounds like we're doing a lot of gluing. This is still going to have absolutely loads of dimension in it when it's all finished. There's still a long way to go. Okay, we've kind of got a little bit of a choice now about what we work on next. We've got the cockatoo, the top of the palm tree, the koala, or the beach ball and the gifts at the front. I think I'll start next with the cockatoo. We'll start with this black piece, and that's going to go on here, and it slides underneath the surfboard a little bit. If you can't get it under there with your foam squares, just try peeling them up a little bit from the top of your surfboard. Probably would have been easier to stick this one on first, but we can make it work. This is going on with foam squares. I'm not putting any foam in the bottom bit along here, as that's what will tuck under the surfboard. It tucks in there, and then lines up like that. And then we've got the yellow piece to glue on top. Next up is the bigger of the two white pieces, and this is also glued. Make sure you line the eyes up on those different layers so you can see the hole. It is a very, very small hole, but there is a hole. And then finally is the piece for the wing, which I'll use one teeny tiny foam square for. Line that up along the curve on the back. And then he's got a green bauble in his beak. A little bit of foam. This is one I've cut smaller to fit. And then put one of my tiny green circles on the end. Look how cute he is, helping out at decorating the tree. Next up, we'll do the tree, and we'll start with the biggest of the 2 leaf pieces. This one is a foam square layer. There's that one. And then the next one will also be foam squared on top to make up a little bit of depth and dimension in those leaves of the palm tree. There. Now for all these teeny tiny circles. You can either glue or foam them on. I'm going to glue them because it's a little bit easier, and also we've already come out quite a long way with the tree, so I think glue will probably look a little bit better anyway. I'll add some foam for the star in the middle though. I'm going to add a dab of glue. It doesn't really matter which colour you put in which space. Also one there. I think I might have missed some, but I'll do these ones first. It doesn't really matter the colours, just make sure you save a white one for the bobble on the end of the koala's hat. I've got my Design Space screen open behind me, so I'm sort of trying to get them in exactly the right order, just so that the project that you see matches the one that's in the design. Okay, so I seem to have a problem. I've only got one little white circle left, which I'll put there. I'm missing a green one to go on here, another white one here, and the white of his bubble. I'm not quite sure how I've managed to do that. I'm going to have a good look around my craft room. If I can't find them, I will recut those bits and then we'll come back and finish the rest. I managed to find the other 2 white ones, but I couldn't find my other green, and rather than load up my Cricut just for one little circle, I actually just used a hole punch. It's a little smaller than all the others, but I don't think it really notices. And I've also put my star on there with some foam squares. Okay, next we'll move on to the koala, starting with the filled in shape for his head. This one will be done with foam squares. I didn't do a very good job of lining that up. I'm going to start again. That's better. Next up is the black piece. This one will be glued. Then there's the top piece with his eyes and nose cut out. Again, this one is glued. There's this little bit for his arm and leg, which will be foam squared. This is another one where you might have to cut them smaller, but mine just about fit. It's so cute. And then there's the red of his hat. And this one will be foam squared. Oops. Don't think I want to fit 4 in there, just 1. Then glue for the white along the bottom. I'm going to put it straight on there. I think that'll be a little bit easier. There. All right, nearly done. Oh, you know what? I've almost forgotten his bubble. After I spent all that time looking for it as well. There we go. Glue his bubble onto the hat. Okay, now as I was about to say, almost done now, just the gifts along the bottom to go. We'll start with this white layer, and this will be foam squared on. Next up is this piece to add the detail to the beach ball, and this is a glue piece. It just sort of follows the outline of the beach ball and then tucks in to where the bottom bit will get covered over with the gifts. This blue bit next, which is glued. On top of that is this white bit with the ribbon sort of joining the 2 end gifts together. Then the yellow rectangle for the front. And the ribbon to go on top. one more. We've got this spotty little gift shape. This one's a little tricky to add the glue to because of all those holes. Oh, I've actually done that the wrong way round because my ribbon doesn't quite line up with what's underneath, but I don't think it'll notice as long as I make sure I put the final bit of ribbon on the correct way round. So this sort of bigger loop on that ribbon will be on the right hand side. I did it wrong on that teal coloured layer. There, all covered up, you'd never know. And here's our finished Christmas at the Beach layered papercraft design. There is so much going on, it's really cute, and I hope that you have enjoyed crafting along with me. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up and come back tomorrow for day 7 of the Christmas Craft Countdown. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!